Hello, ladies. Welcome back to the Embodied Living Podcast. And we are going to talk about my favorite subject. It's a three-letter word, and most people try to avoid it. Can you guess? Sex. More specifically, we're diving into the fear, the shame, and the masks, and that heavy silence that lives in so many of our bedrooms. And I'm pulling back the covers today because I am sick of women feeling ashamed of their sexuality, their gifts, their sensuality. It has to stop. Ladies, we are meant to be embodied, to be radiant, to be fully expressed. And yet, so many of us hide in the very space we long to be free in. So, when I was 11, I discovered a gift. It's strange. Not exactly the kind of thing a preteen wants. But is it? I could talk about sex. I could give advice, even though I had no actual experience. I mean, I was like 11, 12 years old, but somehow I just knew how to speak to it. I could share wisdom in a way that people needed to hear. This continued through high school, but I didn't talk much about it. I learned early on that this gift wasn't normal. And as you can imagine, I got made fun of, judged, laughed at. So I became ashamed of it. I tucked it away. I hid it. And now I'm done hiding, and I want all of us to be done hiding. So, this episode is for the woman who's ever thought, maybe we're just not compatible. But deep down, she knows that's not the full truth. Today, again, we are pulling back the covers, literally and emotionally, on why we hide in the bedroom and what happens when we finally start telling the truth. So, here's what I know. We wear so many damn masks in bed. The cool girl mask, where we're down for anything, even when we're not. The pleaser mask, where their pleasure becomes our only focus. They are all that matters. The performer, where we fake the moans, the orgasms, the enthusiasm. And sometimes we do it just so that they will finish and be done. Have you been there? Done that many, many times in past relationships. Why do these masks even exist? Well, because these patterns didn't start in the bedroom. Shocker! They started in childhood, in our traumas, in our survival. The same wounds that shaped our identities are showing up again between the sheets. Do you feel this? That cool girl is born from a deep desire to be liked, to be chosen. So we say yes to things we don't actually want. We agree to experiences we're not comfortable with just to feel that connection. Only we're not really connected, are we? We're abandoning ourselves. And the shame of saying yes when we meant no can linger long after the experience is over. It's the wounded need for attachment in any form. And ladies, it costs us. Then there's the pleaser that can show up with this core belief. And let me just tell you, this is me 100% in the past. If I just give enough, they'll see my worth. But when you're with someone who only takes, it never balances out. You become depleted, unseen, and you're still not enough. And here's what happens. They just keep taking. You will never, ever know your worth if you judge it through them, because your worth is in who you are. And you will always feel unworthy because all they do is take. And what are pleasers? Well, we're givers. And the performer, the woman who makes sure they feel good about how she looks and sounds, even when she's disconnected from her own body. We fake pleasure, not because we want to, but because we don't feel safe revealing what's real. Behind all of these masks is just one aching truth. We are ashamed to fully experience our pleasure. We're ashamed to feel it, to show it, to own it. And where does this shame come from? Doesn't just appear in adulthood now, does it? Nope, it's been building for years. For many of us, we can probably look back and see that it started in childhood. Maybe we were told not to touch ourselves. That's wrong. Maybe our parents didn't talk about sex at all, or only spoke of it as something dirty or dangerous. Just abstain. Never an actual conversation. Which, of course, what does that do? Makes us more interested. Maybe church teachings made us feel like our bodies were sinful or that desire was something to be controlled. Hmm, how did that work out for a lot of kids growing up in the church? Or maybe your friends laughed at you or bullied for developing early or being too curious or too expensive. Even as adults, the shame continues. A partner comments on a sound we make in bed and suddenly we go silent. We're laughed at for wanting something new and we shut down. We compare ourselves to everyone else and feel like we're doing it wrong. And a big comparison we do is when it comes to porn, and we have to stop doing it. It is not real. It is a performance. It is not how intimacy actually is. And all of these things, they lodge in our nervous system. And all of it contributes to why we struggle to be our sexual, authentic selves. Because for so long, sexuality wasn't about us, it was about the other person, right? And reclaiming it now, ladies, that takes courage, healing, and truth. And I am ready for us to all have that change. Because your sexuality, your pleasure, your yes and your no, they're sacred. They are yours and they deserve to be honored because we're afraid the truth will ruin the moment. But what if the truth is the only way to make the moment real? So I want to start here. How often do we hear this phrase? We're just not compatible. And hey, sometimes that is true, but more often it's not an incompatibility. It's a fear, silence, shame. It's years of not talking about what we like, what we don't, what we need, what we want. We stay quiet because it feels safer. But y'all, safe doesn't mean satisfied. How many of you would actually like to be satisfied? So, how many of you have been told we just aren't compatible sexually? Or maybe you've said it. I know I have. But what's really being said? I want you to fuck like I want to be fucked. I don't care about your needs. I don't know what you like, and I'm not sure how to ask. I've never been taught how to explore this with someone. I don't know what an erotic blueprint is. That sounds strange. Does it even matter in compatibility? These are the unspoken truths buried under the blanket excuse of incompatibility. And until we bring them to the surface, we'll keep labeling what's exactly or actually a communication gap. And it creates a dead end in a relationship. So let's get a little personal here. I'm actually a certified erotic blueprint practitioner. I love it. I had the absolute privilege of learning under its creator, Jaiya. You've probably seen her on Sex, Love, and Goop on Netflix. And if you haven't watched it yet, please do. It's a masterclass in intimacy. You can also grab her latest book on Amazon, Your Blueprint Pleasure. And I will put this also in the show notes. And I just want you to know that before I understood the blueprints, I didn't even know I was a sexual sensual type or what that even meant. But that realization, whew, breath, it changed everything. But not just for me, but for my relationship. So my partner is a strong sensual. And knowing this completely transformed how we love and make love. Now, he understands that sometimes my sexual blueprint comes forward. I want the visuals, the nudity, the cock. I want to be taken in a way that lets his masculine strength penetrate my feminine soul. I want it raw, intense, wild. Other times, like this morning, I want the slow, safe, sacred holding. I want to feel that his masculine presence is cradling my goddess body in love and presence. I want that sensual connection, the music, the softness, the sacredness. Why does this work? It works because we talk. We share what we want, what we don't, and we're not afraid to shift moment to moment. We've even gotten to a place where we can read each other's energy. No guessing, no pretending. It's a gift to have a partner who wants to understand my blueprint, who wants to be the best lover for me and with me. And I feel the same for him. Our sex isn't just physical anymore, it's transcendent because it's rooted in love and curiosity and truth. Because we know each other's erotic blueprints and we honor them. So let's talk a bit about the blueprints because I know some of you are wondering, oh my God, which one am I? Well, you could be an energetic. Energetics don't actually need to be touched. They can simply feel the energy and can orgasm and feel pleasure simply by the energy around them. What a gift. The sensual is all about those senses and creating the mood and needing to be revved up slowly. They just can't get into it unless their whole body feels that foreplay of the senses. Sexual. While we are often about just the penetration, get to the end, feel that rawness, right? We're about the visuals, the nudity. We love the body. It turns us on. It gets us in the mood. And we can get in the mood incredibly fast just from that visual. And in the end, it really is about that penetration, that orgasm that happens. The kinky, as I always tell my people, it's just what you're not used to. It's what you consider taboo. Things that maybe have intrigued you, but you haven't done yet and you want to do. It's fun. It's not about what you see in porn. It is not about all the rope play and all the craziness and the BDSM. That is a part of kink, but it is not all of kink. The shapeshifter is the one who moves through all four of these, the energetic, the sensual, the sexual, the kinky. Depending on who their partner is, what their partner needs or what they need, they can move in every one of these. And usually the shapeshifter is something that is learned over time. So if you're like, ooh, I can kind of play in all of these, that's amazing. I love that. Most people are a mix, but we tend to have a strong proclivity toward one. So as I said, my partner's is sensuality, mine is sexual. And here's the thing, your blueprint is never wrong. Each blueprint has its superpowers and what I like to call shadows. And the shadow isn't a bad thing. It's just something that I like my clients to be aware of. It's where your wounding or conditioning from the past can show up and interrupt your pleasure. So for me, I have some strong sensual shadows. One in particular that I had with my ex-husband was in the middle of sex. My brain would go to all the things I needed to get done, like laundry or dishes, and I would just check out of the moment. Now, one of the reasons is because I probably didn't really enjoy sex with my ex-husband as much, or I felt like I had to perform because I did have that people pleasing, and sometimes just performing would get it moving so I could get to what I needed to. But that wasn't fair to my partner at the time. I don't have that with my man now. We don't have that at all because I'm in it and I pay attention to this shadow so that I don't have this happen. And honestly, I fucking love to have sex with this man. So I never, ever have any thought other than being present in the moment with him. But That's a side note. So, as you can tell, understanding your blueprint gives you a map, right? A way to come home to your body, to your truth, to your desire. And from that place, you can invite your partner in. And I will put a link for the quiz, for the erotic blueprint quiz in the notes for those who want to take the test. Because I think this is an important thing for you to know, for you and your partner to know. And while so many of us have learned that sexuality should be hidden, tamed, controlled, it's really prevalent with women. We were taught to be desired, but not to desire, right? Does that sound familiar? To be sexy, but not to be sexual. And so where do we hide? We hide in the bedroom, in our bodies, behind the mask of our own sexuality. And girl, you don't have to live like this anymore. You can take this mask off. You get to explore. You get to like what you like, even if it doesn't fit that society mold that we're told is normal. There is no normal. Because when we hide our truth, our pleasure, our desire, we cut ourselves off from the very intimacy we crave, the intimacy that we need. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to perform it. You just have to own it. And ladies, you heard me right. Own your sexuality. So let's be real, right? Talking about sex is vulnerable as fuck. It's raw, it's messy, it's honest, and yeah, it can bring up a lot of insecurities, right? But here's the gift. It can also bring you closer than you've ever been. We often avoid these conversations not because we don't care, but because we do. Because we don't want to be rejected. Because we fear that being fully seen might make someone walk away. But it can also bring you closer than you've ever been. When we share our vulnerability with our partner, we give them permission to share theirs with us. And is that not the true gift in a relationship? The kind of vulnerability that is held sacred between two intimate partners? And if you're polyamorous, more, right? Between your intimate partners, respected, honest, rooted in trust. But avoiding the conversation only deepens the disconnect. Look, you don't need a perfect script. You just need a little courage and a lot of love. Love for you and love for your partner. So let's start with some pretty basic questions. Can I share something that's been on my mind? I've been curious about trying. Ooh, I love it when you do blah, blah, blah. That's where the intimacy begins. That's where transformation happens. So let me say this loud and clear so you can hear it. This is for the ladies in the back. You are not broken. You are not too much. And you are definitely not alone. Your desires are holy. Your body is worthy. Your pleasure matters. When we take off the masks, we don't lose connection. We deepen it. We create space for truth, for healing, for turn on that doesn't require pretending. And how many of you would love that? So, I want you to consider some of these soul practices this week and even moving into the months. I want you to get curious about your erotic blueprint, yours and your partner's. I want them to be curious also. Ask yourself, what do I like? What do I need? And ask your partner, what do they like? What do they need? Pick one truth you've been holding in and speak it. Even if your voice shakes, get yourself in front of a mirror and say it to yourself first. You don't have to tell your partner right away, but at least say it to yourself. Speak it. Speak it loud. Be proud of this truth. And remember, you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be honest. So, if this episode stirred something in you, DM me, schedule a discovery call, share it with a sister, a friend, a partner. It's time for us to normalize this conversation. It is time for us to stop hiding in the bedroom and start healing in it. And hey, if you want more of this, subscribe, review, come hang with me every week inside Embodied Living because we are just getting started on the topic of sexuality.